Welcome to Between Two Pastries, a not-so-typical nutrition podcast. Nicole and Annie are licensed and registered dietitians. Join them as they discuss hot nutrition topics, challenge popular beliefs, and have a blast doing it. Here are your hosts, Nicole and Annie.
All right, welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
Today we are met with an amazing guest for our next interview, and this is George Herrera. George, say hi.
Hi.
Hey. So today, just so everybody kind of knows, too, slight disclaimer that we are recording this via video, so you'll have access to that. But we do have our masks on, so if you are listening via our pod, that's why we're a little muffled. So we apologize up front, but we are also being safe at the same time. So welcome, George, to your bakery. We are sitting here in George's bakery. He owns Sugar and Flour Bakery in
Greendale, Wisconsin.
Yes. Hi, George.
Hi. I'm George.
So the reason why we chose George, or asked George if he would like to be our next interviewee, is because George is a really outstanding athlete. He has had quite the story and experience of doing different types of athletics, and he's also had his own personal path with nutrition, with being an athlete too, kind of finding his balance around there. So,
and he's also a chef, so like
he's also a chef.
He has worked in the food industry forever,
Yeah.
and now owns a bakery. So it's just kind of like the amount of food and nutrition you're always around.
Yes.
And you don't always take advantage of it.
No.
Yes.
I know, that is smart.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool to
So George, without further ado, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you.
who you are.
Yeah.
George. And I started cooking 40 years ago. Wow. 89? Yes, 89.
Did you get started like as a busboy? You know, like where you got that job as like a dishwasher?
I started in my parents' bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's where all my bad habits started.
Gotcha. Sure.
So, and then I cooked a little bit, and then decided to go to culinary school, and started there.
Cool.
And started with Hyatt in 89.
Awesome.
And worked with Hyatt till 2014 when we
Wow,
moved here.
yeah.
I've been all over. I traveled.
Wow.
So
And what culinary school did you go to?
I went to a technical college in Waco, Texas.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it was nice. An associate's degree in food science.
Yeah. Nice.
I wanted to be a pastry chef, but it was too hard. So I married one.
Yeah. You can't get any better than that. Yeah. You make dinner, she makes dessert, you know?
Well, and Hyatt was with Marriott, right?
No.
No,
we fell under the same buying power.
Okay, got it.
We were all in the same buying power.
Got it.
And so how did you get started in athletics?
I started after knee surgery, had my right meniscus cleaned out. I was at the Masters for work. The Chevron bought a hotel, took over a hotel, and I woke up one morning, went outside, and said, I need to start running so I can see my kids grow up. I started running, and this journey started probably 2012, 2013.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
So about eight years ago, right in there?
Yeah. I think right before I met Annie.
Yeah, it was right around that time,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Wow.
God, it's been that long.
Yeah.
You put in some serious miles and what doesn't feel like that long time. To me.
No, it was.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
No.
I'll be honest, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Annie doesn't even do stuff.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, I've done 10,000 miles in 5 years.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So it was a little stupid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's extreme.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's extreme.
That's George is either half, zero, nothing, or all the way.
Yeah. Yes.
George's personality.
It is.
It's okay.
And George likes to talk to it and refer to himself in the third person, and that's okay.
Oh, I didn't realize I did that. I think Karen's brought that up.
Yeah. work with maybe how you were fueling yourself, and maybe at what point you kind of figured out that, I'm starting to get tired or injured or
what happened?
I didn't realize it at all until because back then I drank. I drank to offset my eating. So my drinking was a lot more than normal people. And then when I stopped drinking, I started to run more. I started running, and I had done something in my left quad. And so I went to a PT at Freighter. I think it was Freighter. And I would refer to Nicole because they couldn't figure out what was going on with my left quad. And I walked in, saw Nicole, I think 2 days later. And she laughed at me when she found out what my diet was.
Lovingly.
And it was nothing. I wasn't eating properly. I think I was probably trying the cabbage diet. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I did try that one time. But I was not eating properly. I was under eating by about 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
I think I was just doing protein, so I wasn't eating carbs.
Well, and you've gone through kind of like a cycle though of different diets. Like you facetiously said cabbage diet, but then you were doing vegan for a while.
I did, and you talked me out of that. I think it was right after Silver Rush.
Yeah, it's something summertime.
Yes, it was. I tried that.
And how long were you vegan?
I think a week.
All right, so it wasn't even a few months where you're like, I'm going to give this a go, maybe throw an event in there.
No. Didn't try it. Before it was keto. It was Atkins.
Oh,
So I thought I'd do that. The watermelon diet probably.
Oh my gosh, George.
The celery diet.
Yeah,
that was way before.
80s and 90s.
Yeah, so I
There's
grew
so
up.
much I don't know about you.
Well, and obviously there's reasons why we do that, but then you end up working with Nicole, and how hard is it to, be told like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Or be laughing.
A lot.
Like where you're like, because so many people that they want to believe that whatever they're doing is gonna work.
Right.
It's gonna work this time.
Right.
Okay, it didn't work. Now it's gonna work this time. Now is the time. And so then you start working with someone, and how vulnerable you must be when they tell you we have to eat breakfast and work out, or something before we work out, and during and after, and then this many calories and carbs, and like that's a very scary thing.
It did a toll, I think, at first, because I like to be so regimented when I do stuff, and I was scared.
Yeah.
But then something clicked. I mean, I was an emotional mess a couple times, seeing Nicole. I'd walk in there, a lot of it was I was just emotionally drained, and I wasn't eating properly. And that's how we nailed it down. I wasn't eating properly, and I still struggle with it. And that's why I still go. I see Nicole, and the best thing that she said the last time was, "This is just advice. You're gonna either do what you want to do, or you're not gonna do it. Do it, or it's your call, not mine."
Right.
And you know what? For personality that I have, it's exactly, and that's what I took out of them. So, and I followed what she suggested regimentedly.
Yeah.
And I even told her when I rode my bike for 2.5 hours without eating, I was scared to death.
She let you do that?
No, I didn't tell her until afterwards.
Right. It's always after the fact.
Because Brian said, "You're going to tell her that." I said, "Yes. Shouldn't I?" He said, "Yes, you should." But it was under control.
We all have to tell her.
Yes.
You have to.
But I told her that I kept my heart rate under 130.
Okay.
Everything was, I had my water. I wasn't going to eat. It was all to find out what my body would do.
Right.
For this past Saturday that I
Right.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
And if I wouldn't have known that going into the race, I probably would have bombed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That was,
Have you had a lot of experiences with bombing?
yes.
So, like, does it always come back to nutrition and hydration?
Always. Every time.
Yeah.
So when you started working with Nicole, how long or how many events still sucked before it fell into place, or did it change immediately?
It changed immediately. It changed immediately. I think the last event I did before I saw Nicole was Kettle 100, which I dropped down from Kettle 100 to the 100K. And that was because of nutrition. And I think, that was. Because I still wasn't healing. I had torn the quad.
Okay. Wow.
Way before Kettle.
Yeah.
I think I did it during Frozen Otter.
Oh.
Everything was getting all jacked up.
Okay, so you were able to see immediate change.
I think
whether running or biking.
Yes. I said she gave me what I needed to eat, drink, or eat before I wasn't pre-fueling.
Right.
But she gave me something I needed to do. And I think I went out running with Casey. Out of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is great. This is what it feels like.
Holy moly! Yeah.
Superman going down the trail.
But that's kind of the neat thing. And Annie and I kind of talked about that where, your body will respond when it has what it needs, And the thing is I think we've said this before, like so many people aren't used to feeling good. Feeling like they're used to operating at a particular level and they're just so used to it that they just think that's their normal. And it's okay. And so when you experience something different, and not only different, but different like in a really good, empowering and encouraging that, oh my gosh, I don't have to feel like crap when I do this.
Well, and something that I run into is all of people who, I'm doing this race.
Yeah.
And you get them prepared for that, and they take that same nutrition plan and try to apply it at other things, and you're like, it doesn't work. There's so many variables with racing.
Right.
And so I know for you've stuck it out with Nicole, and you keep working with her.
Yeah.
Because, going from running to biking has been a big change. Cool. And then the type of biking that you're doing, the demands on your body to keep your muscle mass up and not burn your muscle is huge.
Yes.
Do you have any insight? Because we talk about this, but people that I work with don't seem to care about muscle mass.
Yeah.
It's
they don't understand.
They don't understand it, or they just see what's on the scale.
Yeah.
And then but do you have any examples, or where maybe you burned muscle mass and the outcome hasn't been good, or you kept your muscle mass where, you know what I mean, and where can you see that effect in your racing?
I can, because when my coach actually noticed it from the stress, I had to do a test and find out what my power threshold could be for a certain hour.
Okay.
And he noticed it. My threshold hadn't changed. It was still 236 watts per hour. And he said, this is the normal, because I should have increased with all the training.
Oh.
And then that night I saw Nicole. She said, what's going on? So we sat talking with a lot of stress, COVID.
Yeah, sure.
So Nicole is very good at not telling me how much I weigh, what my mass is, because
no one needs to know.
In my personality, I would just go, oh crap, I got to do that.
Me too. Yep.
So,
totally get it.
So she noticed it, and I told my coach that I had a conference call with him later on. He said that's why. And then I saw Nicole back to back.
2 weeks later.
Yeah. And she noticed that I still had some, and I'd lost more muscle mass. So we increased the carbohydrates.
Yep.
And increased my eating throughout the day.
Yeah.
I think I saw her after that, and I went back to normal.
That's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
Muscle mass is lost with a lack of carbohydrate, and you need to increase the frequency of how many times a day you're eating to get those numbers up. But it's directly related to carbohydrate intake.
Yes.
And your carbohydrate intake is pretty high, right?
Yeah.
It's between 80 and 100 per hour.
Per hour.
Yeah.
Which is
outstanding. It is outstanding.
Which is about right, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where...
But that has everything to do with the amount of muscle you have. And that just shows, too, like, you are a machine. Like, this is, what you have. So, that's really cool. But I remember specifically, there was such a significant drop. And then just in 4 weeks, you brought it right back. It was phenomenal. Like, it was phenomenal.
It's unusual,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people have to understand, like, muscle is where your power lies. It's where your power lies. So it's like, you know, you don't want to necessarily have less of that going into something that requires so much effort.
Because I had the race in 2 weeks.
That's right. That's right.
Got it.
That's right.
This current race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nicole dialed me in.
Did the plan that you came up with for this race, were you able to follow it, or did you have to go to like different plans because of?
No, because I had her in my head.
We're like on shoulder.
I know.
It was because the race started the day across Minnesota. You have 241 miles to do in 24 hours. You
Yes.
start at midnight Saturday. You have to do this whole state of Minnesota. And with no aid station this year because of COVID.
Right.
So the crew.
So it was all on you?
I had a gallon of water on my bike. With all the bottles, probably more than that. But then all my fuel, I was carrying probably 1,000 calories.
And then you had a crew.
A crew that would replenish it
Got it.
at every 60 miles. So the hardest part was from midnight till 3:30 in the morning. I struggled eating 60 or 80 to 100 grams of carbohydrates
At
because
that hour.
I mean, but
Just not normal.
That's not.
It's just
your
not
body's not
normal.
used to that.
Your body isn't used to producing the
Yep.
so I got up, I did my normal breakfast. Then I ate breakfast again. Then I ate lunch at 3. Then I ate dinner again at 6. And then at 10 o'clock, I did overnight oats. I did overnight oats.
Yeah, that's great.
convenient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And then at midnight, I had a goop.
Yeah,
Right
there you
before-
go.
right before the
Right
race.
before.
I slammed the
Slammed
goop.
it. Yep.
And then tried to remember to eat. If I was
hard on
forgetting
the
to
body.
eat, I'd grab a bottle because I was carrying 40 I was carrying 60 grams of carbohydrates in each bottle.
Okay.
I had 5 bottles on my bike.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, 5 bottles.
Yeah, because we talked about that. It was like the countdown.
Yeah. So we knew that, but eating between midnight and 3:30 was super hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. You almost probably needed a couple days of practicing
and
Even
I
with
did,
that.
biking at midnight.
Yeah.
Or something. You
To prime the
probably
digestive
neglect that.
enzymes. Yeah. No, it's true.
I mean,
But I wouldn't want you to have done that.
right. I know. It's like you don't want to, but then you practice that.
know.
Right.
but I did.
Yeah, of course.
Which I just followed. I followed the plan.
Right.
Carbohydrate told me to eat.
Yep.
And then you didn't tell me you suggested. Don't stress it. She suggested. I didn't have to do anything.
Right. You did. But you did.
I did.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And then I ate constantly at the aid station. I would drink a soda, a Pop-Tart, eat a Pop-Tart, 4 chips.
Yeah.
Pringles are great.
Yeah. Pringles are easy. Yeah.
And then take off. I do a gel right after I took off.
Right.
And then,
Great.
and I told Nicole, I said, everything's going to switch at probably about 3:30 or 4. I'm not going to want to eat anymore.
Right.
Right.
And so but then I had the backup super fuel scratch,
Yep.
which is 400 calories
Nice.
and 100 grams of carbohydrates per bottle. I switched to that.
So you switched to all liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and we knew that,
Yes.
and that was
Yeah, you know yourself.
kind of part of the plan. And you know, when you're working with anybody, it's kind of like even when people run marathons, it's like they are so done with a goo, which is why I try not to rely on that so much. So it's like let's get as much real nutrition in as possible.
Yeah. I front loaded.
Yes, exactly. Because at that point, at that second half, that liquid nutrition is going to absorb faster anyway.
Yep.
It's the hydration that you really, really need to try to get you through that last bit. Didn't you still have some muscle cramping that ended up happening?
I had 40 miles left of riding, and both legs started to cramp.
Ugh.
I forgot that I needed salt tabs.
Salt.
Yeah.
So I cramped, and I walked up the hill, and I
Was that when you were off course?
no, that I flew. When I went off course,
Right.
I hit normal road, then I just punched it. And I was doing between 18 and 20 miles an hour for 8 miles just to get back on course.
Oh, no.
So then I hit gravel and just took off, and I was doing 15 until I hit the hills, and all of a sudden it was like the guy at the top said, "You probably want to spin your leg. You're dying." then I ran into a tent from a local bike shop. They had pickle juice.
Oh, good. Yes.
Such a saving grace. Yes.
It is. That's a good one.
Slam
Great.
pickle juice.
Yep.
And
Yep. It works so well.
Electrolytes are phenomenal. Yeah.
It's amazing what the body can and can't do.
So, yeah, completely.
It's unreal.
So kind of staying on course then with your nutrition plan, even if you didn't go off course, because like we said, how many miles did it end up being?
I did a total of 258 miles.
Woo. And then how many extra did you do?
17.
Okay.
It's an hour.
Which doesn't seem like enough, but it's an hour. And it's an hour where you didn't have extra fuel planned for either.
Right.
You know? So that's also something to take into consideration. But besides that, which I have to commend you for, it's really amazing to even put in extra credit. And
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how did you feel at the end, besides probably happy to be done? But
I had a hot spot on my right foot.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting in the saddle for so long.
Ugh.
And getting off the bike, it took me a while to get back to walking.
Yeah.
But I felt like I probably could have gone another hour or two. Because of the fueling.
That's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
How long did it take you?
19 hours
Nice.
and 43 minutes,
Nice.
roughly.
Okay. That's awesome.
So,
Just
Yeah,
awesome.
it's crazy.
Now, then you recovered,
recovered.
and are you feeling good?
But yeah, I felt great the next day.
Yeah.
But as Karen would put it, she said it's nice to see you be able to walk. But after ultras, after running, I'd always hurt.
Can't get up,
Yeah.
can't go upstairs,
But
downstairs.
after that many miles, I felt good. I don't know, and I'm just
Very
assuming because I had my nutrition diet,
Yes.
I'm sure I would feel the same way if I was running and following the nutrition plan the way I should have.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of muscle mass lost at all? Or like, did you do a test at all?
He has a follow-up with me in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, so then
But he
you'll
wanted to
see
swallow
it.
it.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
So we're sort of doing a consult now.
Yeah, right.
I'm getting the story now.
Right. Cool. So then you'll.
But yeah, because I was curious on how you recovered them.
I felt great.
Because I was wondering if you'd feel like you needed to eat like massively for like days afterwards.
Oh, we didn't
could.
get. Oh.
You could, but we haven't gotten to that. Okay.
No, that was what I was going to say. From Sunday till Wednesday, all I wanted was fattening food.
Sure.
Well, do you think that has anything to do with your plan being so simple sugar
Could have been.
heavy? I mean, that's what I noticed for myself is just when hours of simple sugars, and I want something that's just a meal, you know, whether it's greasy or not, but like something with just
I wanted
hot
fat.
and
I wanted
fat.
fattening food.
Well, I think what's important to kind of understand too is that, you know, our body doesn't lie. So I feel like if that's kind of what you wanted, there's probably some form of a reason for that. But I also feel like because of the amount of stress your body was under, there's so much hormone, like brain hormone, that has to be reset. And so there, you know, fat will switch and change some of that hormone. And so that could have something to do with it for you.
And that's
Those stress hormones.
I was going to send you a message and ask, going, what am I supposed to eat? What's it like to eat normal?
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? Nicole's going to say, eat what your body wants. So I just ate what my body wanted. But then on Thursday, I was like, something clicked. I felt good. My sleeping pattern started to go back to normal.
Good.
I started eating a little
You
bit.
finished on Sunday?
Yes.
So about 4 days, yeah.
So,
You probably had some swelling. And just
all of
discomfort.
the things.
All of that.
so I started feeling better. I slept in until 5:30 today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Great accomplishment, because I don't remember talking to you recently where you've had a successful, you know, and I think you were due for one.
And this was a huge one to have be so successful.
First one, my bike died.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad luck.
Right.
But gravel biking is not easy.
No.
On any, this is one that you are on the road.
It's extra effort all around.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Running a lot much more, pressure on your tires. I think it was 40 psi's.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole.
That's a cool.
You're welcome, but you did decide to actually do the thing. So I have to congratulate you more than anything. for trusting the process.
That's
That's the
all it
hardest
is.
part.
It's trusting the
People don't
process.
like the trust process. It's hard.
It's so simple.
I know it's simple, but it's, I know. But how many
I know.
times have you put your, if you opened yourself up for vulnerability, you put your trust into a practitioner, and then it fails?
Yeah.
It doesn't work,
Right.
or, that's really hard.
I think you need to be humble.
Yes.
Because after my last aid station, I got cocky, and that's where all the mistakes happen.
Oh, interesting. Sure.
It's
Well, I'll be
like
fine.
like
I
clockwork.
don't need that. I'm not
And
hungry.
you know what?
My legs feel
And I
good.
forgot a bottle.
Oh,
I left the
yeah.
bottle. So my
Yeah.
confidence was way up here.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need that.
Oh my God.
So I was just, because I was almost out of water. When I got to that tent, and they filled up my bottles, it was like, I wasn't humble anymore. So,
Yeah.
So it's like you were feeling like Superman, and
Yes.
then
I had
forgetting
100K
that
left.
you're a human being.
You had 100K
I
left.
had 100K left.
Oh my gosh.
And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. But as I was turning around, I got a text from my youngest, and she said, Dad, are you done?
Oh,
I was like, I gotta shut this off.
yeah.
I just gotta go grind it out.
Yeah.
My buddy Skip said, have fun.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours. What do you have to lose?
Right.
It's 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Get it done.
So I got it done, and I had fun.
That's
But
really
that's the most important part. I do think people forget that sometimes. They
absolutely.
forget to smile, they forget to have fun, they worry.
Like you're not choosing to put yourself through hell.
Right.
You're choosing to have an experience that you
Yeah.
are looking forward to.
Be at work or be on a bike
Right.
for 24 hours.
Right.
I had to be.
Right. That's
Yeah.
really true. Completely true.
So being humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George.
Good insight.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to kind of, as closing words, as you can say? Anything?
I just listen to the experts.
Yeah.
As long as I stay out of my own way
Yes.
and listen to others,
Yes.
just listen, ask.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have met Annie a long time ago
Yeah.
and then transitioned to you,
Sure. Right.
who knows where I'd be.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And
Everything happens.
for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. So, George, we always like to ask people what their favorite foods are, or your favorite food.
Probably barbecue pork pizza.
Really?
Oh,
wow.
yes.
That's so
Do you make it?
interesting.
No,
Oh, okay.
we had it in Stillwater.
Oh, nice.
So, how do you find that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
These two went on a bike trip together right before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Annie can tell you that I'm a fiend for like shredded barbecue.
Oh, it's
Oh.
a
I eat
favorite.
it
All
in
the
all
time.
forms. And this place that we went to, they had a barbecue pork pizza, which once upon a time I had a barbecue chicken pizza.
You
Yeah.
And
love
actually,
that.
like I make them with Joss every once in a while, or I used to when she was eating
Yeah, I don't
and
eat
stuff
that.
like that.
I eat a pizza.
And so I'm like, okay, well, you got to try this. And it was without a doubt one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Was it so shredded pork? Was it onion?
Yep.
Like
Yes.
so barbecue chicken, but instead of the chicken,
It was pork.
it was
Yeah,
pork.
it was
pork.
Yeah.
Thin,
It was
thin crust.
Yeah, yes, it was. And crispy burnt on the outside.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's barbecue
That's
pork.
real good.
Yes.
Essentially.
It was
Essentially.
the best.
On a flat.
It looks like a pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It tasted phenomenal.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Well, good. We're glad you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
On your little boy trip.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
George.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us
for,
here.
yeah.
If you guys, you can go online. You can check out on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, the
Yeah.
Sugar and Flour Bakery and Cafe in Greendale.
Yes.
And George and his wife Karen own the bakery, and they're open till like 2 or 3 usually.
3 o'clock, yes.
3 o'clock.
Close Sunday, Mondays.
Closed Sunday, Mondays. Super breakfast, even better lunch. I feel like.
Yes.
Although I don't think I've been here for breakfast.
Yeah.
I've had only the bakery. But lunch is so good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
So awesome.
So,
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
yeah. Thanks. Cool. We'll see you guys.
Peace out.
Have questions you want to hear discussed on the show? Find us on Facebook or visit betweentwopastries.com and drop us a line. Want to support the show? Find us on Patreon for exclusive content. If you love the show, find us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review.